Hi everyone, Praithani God Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new JID album, God Does Like Ugly? Here we have a new LP from Atlanta rapper and lyricist extraordinaire JID, aka JID, and this is his fourth full-length official studio album, and the highly anticipated follow-up to his incredible The Forever Story, which came out in 2022, and pound for pound, in my opinion, I feel like up until the point where this new Clips album came out, Let God Sort 'Em Out, The Forever Story very much was the best hip-hop album of the 2020s thus far, and to hold that sort of accolade for a very steady 5-year or more period, I think is pretty impressive, takes a certain caliber of artist. And JID is provably such a special artist that his appeal goes far beyond the lane of hip-hop that he's often pigeonholed into. I mean, he was even quoted last year as saying that he hates lyrical rap and doesn't really listen to the sort of hip-hop that is his style. Now, I don't know if that is or can be entirely true, but what I will say is that while JID does make some technically proficient, thoughtful hip-hop, he clearly cares about elements of his songs other than just flashy lyricism, as he typically pairs his tracks with production and features and songwriting that has a bit more of a wide appeal. Certainly wider than your average lyrical miracle rapper who's deluded themselves into thinking that they're here to save hip-hop. And you can see that very appeal that I'm talking about in the array of artists who are willing to work with him. I mean, one of the biggest tracks off of his last record had not only Baby Tate on it, but 21 Savage too. Deeper cuts had the likes of Lil Wayne and Mos Def. And with this new album, he teased toward it with a prelude EP that not just had a track on it with Lil Yachty, but Eminem too. The song Animals Part 1, which is just this incredible lyrical workout, really one of the most insane rap performances I've heard on any song this year. And again, that was just the appetizer for this album. Now we have the entirety of God Does Like Ugly, and the full slate of features here is even more interesting because you have Clips in the mix on this thing, fellow label mates Dreamville, Ty Dolla $ign, Vince Staples, to name a few. But aside from all that, I'm not really sure going into this album what really my expectations were. I mean, I certainly didn't think we'd be seeing any kind of fall off with this LP, but also in the lead up to this album, there were a lot of questions as to whether or not JID would outdo himself in regards to the Forever Story here, which, I mean, frankly is a tall order. Even coming out with another record that is just as good in every way as the Forever Story is would be a feat, because few artists even reach the peak to where they're making a project that good in the first place. And while I wouldn't say this new project here is quite that good, JID still effortlessly dropped here one of the best rap records of 2025. One that kicks off with an incredible first leg. The first track on this thing, You Ugly, kicks off with this big bombastic rant instead of ad-libs from none other than Westside Gunn. But what's even more attention-grabbing about this track is the glitchy, off-kilter beat. It's industrial, it's heavy, it's odd, and amounts to easily the darkest start to any JID album so far. And on top of that, what also makes this track special is that JID's delivery, his writing, his flow, comes across as so conversational, and yet there is still a lot of rhythm and a super clear rhyme scheme to it. As he's saying, yeah, live from the depths of hell with angel wings that have yet to flail, and fans argue about record sales like they record execs themselves, which is a pretty accurate sentiment of the current state of online music discourse, where people unfortunately seem more obsessed with monthly listener numbers than they are with like the actual quality of the music they're listening to. But for JID, these are exactly the sorts of sharp and accurate observations that we've come to expect. And of course, going deeper into the track, we have even funnier and more interesting quotables like, far cry from bugs and cereal boxes on the shelves, now I order escargot on a plate, it's a fucking snail? Which there's like so much to unpack from that line. Not only the shift in, you know, what he has around him in his surroundings since he's become successful as a musician, but just also the juxtaposition of insects in those two different contexts. One being a symbol for poverty and the other one extreme wealth. There's also this crazy choral passage that just breaks in randomly in the middle of the song, provides a bit of a heavenly interlude before we go right back into a super super groovy but dark variation of the same beat and a switched up flow. But yeah, this track overall is such a grimy, uncompromising intro. Surely it kind of feels like JID was doing something here to ward off anybody who wouldn't be open-minded toward whatever he's trying to do on this record. Many of the tracks to follow immediately after this song are much more digestible by comparison, but there's still a lot of depth and a lot of passion to be offered. The song Glory, for example, features some very stellar and epic gospel chops, and these are used to soundtrack what is essentially a hype-up anthem. I love the narrative and flow state that JID hits here on this track too, essentially painting a picture of his growth as well as some of the bumps that he's hit in the road of life, and the way that things like spirituality and religion have helped him along the way. The final leg of this song too features one of many great beat switches across the entirety of this record too. And then after this we get the song Work, which was one of the lead singles to this record. It's this big nasty trap anthem with huge gang vocals, horror movie synthesizer layers. It's a true blue banger with some of my favorite lyrical highlights on the entire record. And I say favorite because I just love the way JID connects one random idea to another using either a similar topic or a number, a rhyme, a bit of alliteration. You couldn't even stop my drive if it were 1955 and I'm on 85 doing 95 in a 1952 Dodge. I done seen too much with my two eyes. I don't even feel a way, just neutralize them. And he continues on just like this for the entirety of the song and sounds amazing front to back. The next track, Community, has a great feature from none other than Clips in the mix. And there are a lot of things I love about this song. I could almost do an entire video about this song, honestly. But what I enjoy about it most is just lyrically and conceptually the cohesion, as the track overall is a pretty bold statement on the sort of suffering and violence and crime and destitution that you might find around some housing blocks, with JID adding into his bars a bit of levity, but also some thoughts on evictions with bars like, "I'll put a bullet in Bob the fucking builder for they try and kick us out the building, what about the children?" And these are all ideas that Pusha T and Malice reinforce with their own verses, but I love how in the lead up, JID brings the storytelling of his bars to their home state of Virginia to sort of pass it off. And all of these things just make this appearance feel like so much more than just a feature. There are more strong cuts further into the first leg, including G's, which has a pretty prominent Comethazine Walk sample. There's also the pretty moody VCR featuring Vince Staples, who I think has one of the better features on the record handily. But then around the midpoint of the album, there's a pretty strong tone shift that there's a lot of differing opinions on. A lot of arguments saying that JID sort of goes pop in the middle of the record randomly. And while I could sort of see why some of these songs aren't for everybody, I still think they mostly add to this album overall in a positive way. Because for one, I personally love Skate featuring Sierra as well as Earth Gang. This track is like a throwback block party anthem with galloping hi-hats and super smooth sung vocals on the hook. Earth Gang's typical rap sung delivery adds so much to the pop appeal of this record too. All in all, there's just a lot of slick flows and funny bars, danceable grooves. It's maybe the most feel-good song on the entire LP. After this though, we get What We On with Don Toliver, which just feels so comatose in comparison with everything else here. While in concept I have no issue with Don Toliver's sound or JID doing a track that is like going in a bit of a spacey, alternative, trap, psychedelic R&B thing, but the spacier production, reverse percussion, down-pitched vocals, and JID's more measured vocal delivery, it just all leads to this track being such a snoozer in comparison with everything else here, which is kind of miraculous considering that Wholeheartedly after this with Ty Dolla $ign is an even slower track, but somehow more gripping and more passionate too, with these beautiful touches of strings and forlorn chords and chilling vocal harmonies. Like, if you remember back to JID's last record, The Forever Story, it really is like the Cody Blue 31 of the record, as that really was like a tuneful and passionate highlight of that album. So is the case for this track. The song also serves as a reminder, like, when JID actually wants to, the dude can sing really well. Like, better than you would think for a guy who often doesn't really like lean into that side of his vocal talents. Sadly, following this, No Boo is another relatively forgettable cut on this LP. With Jesse Reyes, JID tries to give us this kind of bitter romance angle with a lot of back and forth going on. There's a lot of awkwardness to it, not only from the lyrics, but in terms of just JID's vocals having just so much more presence in the mix. And by the time the song is over, I'm just kind of sitting here wondering, like, I don't like the dynamic that these two have. I don't want them to have anything to do with each other. I kind of just want what they have going on to be done so the song can be over. From here, we hit an interlude and then the final leg of the record, which, while not perfect, does feature some of the best tracks. On McAfee, to my ears, is a decent bop, but one that I think could have been left on the Prelude EP, as it doesn't really add that much to the track list that other songs haven't already. And given the super acoustic and chill intro of Blue, I feel like we really could have like gone straight into this track, because after this intro featuring Mariba, which is beautiful, is over, we go right into yet again another lyrical display that shows why JID is in the league that he is, as he hits us with this multi-phased epic of a track with numerous bars that provide a lot of inspiration, aspiration, but a lot of allusions to God and prayer and hope. After this, the song K-Word is an intense and epic meditation on the idea of karma, and the closing track for Keeps is mostly a recount of just JID's life story as an artist and everything it took to get to this point, as he is going over some of his first performances, as well as like uploading early tracks to SoundCloud and not really getting the reception that he wanted off the bat. There's even like a super cute, heartwarming moment with his kid in the midst of the song too. But yeah, all in all, I was not as crazy about this record as I was the Forever Story, mostly because I didn't find it to be as ambitious and as consistent on the track list side, as thematic. But even with that being the case, I don't feel like I'm experiencing some severe drop in quality from the previous record to this one. Like, these are both still great albums, and JID remains to be one of the most impressive rap artists out there today, which is why I'm feeling a light to decent 8 on this new one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, JID, forever.